We are all creators. We are all creators of our own life, our own destiny, our own future. We are the ones in the driver's seat that can make a difference in our life, that can choose to live to a different destiny, a different side of life. We are the ones that get to create these lives, right? With the help of God, with the help of the universe, we work hand in hand to live a life of our choosing or not. Many times we live to our lower destinies and we don't feel as if we're in control. We are tethered to the world in negative ways. We're tethered to the negative vices and things that hold us in this world in a negative sense that aren't our true self. Materialistic pursuits that are draining of the soul and energy, such as drinking, drugs, other vices. You see, we all have a limitless potential. We all are able to create endlessly if we figure out how to do it for ourselves, if we figure out how to express ourselves in a true way. You see, society will condition you to believe that you're not creative, that you don't have a sense of self that is able to express things that haven't been expressed before. Let me tell you, I know this best. I grew up around I had some friends that were creative to a degree, and I always wondered how they did it. I felt as internally I was not creative at all. You see, I didn't know how to express myself in basic ways of communication at many different times, let alone in a way that was creative. The mixture of my inability to communicate in many situations and my anxious tendencies, it was very hard for me to even, again, picture the idea of me being creative in front of other people, or me being creative in a way that other people would see. So I struggled with it, right? But in my process, as I went through more pain and decided who I wanted to be more and more, I realized that this self-expression that I was yearning for was also a yearning to be creative. It was a yearning to express my inner creativity that would really express who I was and help me figure that out as well, even more so. Right? But before this, again, from societal conditioning, from my upbringing, I believed that I wasn't creative. I believed that creativity was something you were born with to a degree. I just didn't think I had it. And this happens to many of us. I know it does. We all feel like we don't have anything good to give to the world. We don't have anything great or different. And this is a load of shit, man. I'm telling you right now. You see, there's no difference between me or you or the Joe down the street and the great artists and thinkers of the world. You see, the great artists and thinkers of the world just spent longer periods of time in developing these thoughts and their faculties of their mind that allowed them to express their ways and their knowledge to the world. You see, many times we're all tapping into the same infinite intelligence to then express our own understanding of it to the world in a way that hopefully helps somebody else. That's what the great thinkers and the great artists of the world have been able to do. They were able to tap into this higher state for longer periods of time, and based on their own internal way of being, they expressed it to the world. They created art. They created thinking bubbles that really helped people understand what things that hadn't been understood just yet. Something I've been reading recently, this book right here, Maps of Consciousness, he talks about learning being familiarity. We learn through something being familiar. We learn through different things really making sense to us, really making sense to how we're supposed to be, right? So if something's familiar, it makes sense for it to be that way. It makes sense, like many of the things that could help us in this life are so simple. We just need to familiarize ourselves with them more so than we already have, rather than what we typically do, which is complicate everything. We think we need to become familiar with all of these different complicated topics and ways of being. When in all reality, if we just took more time to be in those simple ways of being, we would understand more. We would be more familiar with how life actually works. What do the great athletes always say about mastering sports? Fundamentals, 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 fundamentals. You see, that's what life's about as well. Mastering the fundamentals of whatever it is you're trying to do. Understanding the fundamentals of how you work and how you live in this life, or how you're supposed to live in this life. So once again, dialing in our sense of being to a dedicated set of fundamentals that really will drive us to where we want to go. Because once we do that, and we continue down that path, and we work through our issues as far as self-expression, as far as anxiety, and these different mental health issues that just hold us back. And by the way, don't label yourself. Don't say, I'm just an anxious person. Say, I have anxious tendencies that I'm working through. By the way, because you don't want to continue to persist in it. The universe is always in expansion. What you focus on will expand. If you're constantly telling yourself you're an anxious person, you're going to continue to be an anxious person. There are cures. There are ways of getting out of it. It's called focus. It's called developing focus. I promise you. So that's my point. As you go down that path and you work through your issues, you work through your what hinders your progress, what hinders your self-expression, you'll begin to understand and realize, and as long as you persist in it and you actually make a difference and you try new things and you get uncomfortable, you will learn new ways of creativity. You will learn how you are actually very creative deep down. That it's only been the societal conditioning that's held you back for so long. And that it doesn't have to be like that. That it's up to you to make that difference. But if you continue down the road of what society will set us out for you, and you believe only that, you're not creative, the great thinkers and artists of the world were a different being, they weren't you, we're not the same species, whatever bullshit we tell ourselves to make ourselves feel better. If you continue down that road, well, you're being selfish. The world can learn so much just from you, your friends, your family, everybody. We all have so much to learn from one another. And it's our ability or our willingness to learn how to express ourselves in actual ways and express our own genuine creativity to the world that gives us a better chance of helping people and serving the world in the way that we should. But many of us become selfish. We learn to be selfish. We go through so many different situations that hurt us and put us through emotional pain that we begin to think like, well, I don't want to feel pain. I don't want to hurt. I don't want to feel this way. I don't want to be embarrassed. And we close up, and we close up, and we close up, and we close up. Next thing you know, not only are we acting out of fear for the sake of not being harmed, not feeling pain, but we're also less caring of other people. We're also so worried about ourselves and the way we feel that we don't realize that everybody else has their own life to live as well. Everybody else is in their own dimension, their own world, their own reality, and having their own issues. And when we're only focused on avoiding the pain of our own issues, there's no way we can possibly help someone else in their own issues in a true way. Anyways, guys, break the societal conditioning that doesn't allow you to be expressive, that harbors that holds you back from being creative. Because the creativity inside of you is in all of us, but it's a different way of being. It's a different creative side that the world hasn't seen yet. But it's up to you to open that door and let it flood out, or however many doors it takes for it to flood out. I love you guys. Join the Discord. Follow me on Instagram. Have an amazing day. Just go crush it. Be the individual you want to be and be the difference you want to see in the world. I love you guys. Let's go.